found a hidden treasure, this overgrown bridge just behind the apartments where I'm staying. It's a perfect place for a question I've been thinking about, which is, are our ancestors worth listening to? This is the kind of stuff I think about all day, every day. The thing is, it seems to me that everything we're fighting about these days is all really about if we should listen to our ancestors, and if so, which ones, and if so, how much should we go with them on anything? Should we let them dictate everything we think? Should we have a modified version of what they pass down to us? Because really, all of our politics, all of our culture problems, they're all really about that. Our disagreements over that. And I just think about that all the time. And there's the golden rule, that we all call it that you should do to others as you would have them do to you. Something Jesus said. Well, I think one of the things that all of us most want to be done for us is for people to listen to us. If you want to love somebody, you have to listen to them, right? You can't love your neighbor unless you're willing to listen to them, really listen to understand. And lose my train of thought there. This is a good place to lose your train of thought. Just a couple blocks that way, it's nothing like this. This is much better, except for the trash. You can see it. The trash is terrible down in this creek. And there's this big disconnect between us and the world we're in. It's like we're in such a rush, we just don't see it anymore. We're in such a rush to get where, to do what, that a little treasure like this has just become trash behind some apartments. But to me, this is the most beautiful place I've seen all day, except the neglected state it's in. And that has everything to do with what I'm talking about our ancestors. Because we're not listening to the world around us, we're not listening to each other, we're not listening to what's been passed down to us. And the thing is, they're worth listening to. They gave us such wonderful things, a lot of great wisdom, but they didn't have it all together. And that's why we have this big disagreement. That's why we have these big fights over everything, is because some people are saying, oh no, these certain people, maybe this one family line from ancient times, they knew what they were talking about and we should all listen to them. And other people are like, with some updates. And then other people are like, but did you see the things they did? No, forget it. We're starting over from scratch. And those are all really good points. And we need to listen, to each other and to them. And, for me, as a Christian, that means the Bible. I've read that my whole life and have thought about it and studied it more than the average Christian. And I know that's true, and that's not a brag. It's just true. But the point is, though, I haven't just studied the Bible. I've listened to a lot of different things, and it's scary to do that. It's scary to listen. That's why we have a hard time doing it. But the cost of not listening is way too high. And it's why this bridge right here is a microcosm of the world we're living in. It's this beautiful bridge through some woods with birds singing, and then just trash everywhere like no one cares. And an example, my little niece told me this morning that she had to comfort one of her friends because her friend asked a grown-up at church if animals go to heaven, and they said no. Now that may sound like one of those things that, kids care about, and it's, you just have to grow out of it. And I really cared about that as a kid. And then I went through that time where I didn't think about that kind of thing. But that was really because I was told that too. I was told, no, animals don't go to heaven. So I sadly accepted that and moved on, but not really. And some people, a lot of people, I think really do move on. They sadly grieve, the eternal loss of the magical creatures, animals, that they cared about so much when they were kids. And since they found out that those are really just that they're just matter, they're just dying matter, then they gave up on them. We give up on nature. We give up on everything. We give up on the past, on our ancestors. We give up on ourselves because we just sadly accept that answer that supposedly more grown-up people are giving to the more childish among us, saying, no, sorry, that doesn't go to heaven. Those don't go to heaven. No one goes to heaven. There's no such thing as heaven. It's all just falling apart. Well, we don't know how it got here, but it's all just falling apart. Oh. And I had to tell my little niece, first, I also asked her what she told her friend to comfort her. And I thought it was great. But I told her, not only are humans going to heaven, but animals are too, and so is the whole universe. And the reason I said that, I didn't explain that to her, but that's actually what early Christians believed and taught. And that has way different moral and ecological and political consequences than saying animals don't go to heaven. So it's crazy. Just one little thing like that, and the assumptions behind however you ask or answer a question like that, it changes, whether you see the world as sacred or not. And that's just the kind of stuff that I think about all day, every day, which is probably why I don't have friends except these lovely people. Them.